Namaste JVNs, myself JVN Dr. Barkha Khurana. Today we'll be discussing about cervical deformities in biomechanics and kinesiology. This session is important for BPD 4th semester, DPT 4th semester and DPT plus BPT 4th semester. In previous session we had discussed in short about cervical regions biomechanics. So today we'll continue the cervical region and its deformities. See, the most common causes of cervical deformities are degenerative changes when there is collapse of intervertebral disc. It can be because of any kind of trauma. It can be because of any kind of inflammation, like as in case of ankylosing spondylitis. But the most common cause is cervical kyphosis, where the patient presents with pain in the neck region, myelopathy and sensory motor deficits, and that can be due to compression of neural elements. The cervical deformities are categorized into two types, fixed and reducible. Fixed means that the deformity is rigid regardless of the patient position, and reducible means that the deformity is flexible. So depending on the type of deformity, the surgery may be required. Then we'll start with biomechanics in a short. The cervical spine is a weight-bearing mechanical structure. It has 6 degrees of freedom of movement. Flexion extension, axial rotation, lateral bending. We had discussed this before also. Apart from that, additional movements beyond the neutral zone are also present that require more effort to overcome the elastic force from the soft tissues. This zone is also known as elastic zone. If we consider the physiological range of motions, there is 90 degrees of flexion, 70 degrees of extension, 20 to 45 degrees of lateral bending, and up to 90 degrees of rotation on each side. Now we'll consider cervical kyphotic deformity. See, when the cervical kyphotic deformity is present, the head, the center of mass moves anteriorly, and the moment arm increases, thus creating a large bending moment. The resultant larger bending moment requires greater paraspinal muscle contraction to keep the head in erect position, which can cause muscle fatigue and pain. Fine. So if there is kyphotic curve, the head will move forwards in this way. So the back muscles will have to contract to maintain it in head in this way. So muscles at the back will contract neck muscle to keep it erect. Now this kyphotic deformity also shifts the axial load anteriorly and thus potentially accelerating cervical disc degeneration. This kyphotic deformity can also lead to stretching and lengthening of spinal cord, resulting in increased tension and impaired microcirculation. And this may eventually lead to spinal cord ischemia. Mainly, if we consider the function of cervical region, it is to transmit axial load from the cranium, maintain horizontal gaze. Obviously, horizontal gaze means eyes will look forwards, allowing normal head and neck movement, protecting important neurovascular structures, that is the spinal cord, nerve roots, arteries, or vertebra. What if this kyphotic deformity is severe? That will lead to chin on chest deformity, dropped head syndrome in this way, then the neck is in flexed attitude. Because of this, the patient will have problem while swallowing, maintaining horizontal gaze. Now we come to cervical lordosis. There is no universally accepted definition for normal cervical lordosis. So this is only found out with the help of your x-rays. This is in your cervical deformities. I hope you understood this session. And if you have any doubts, you can inbox the comment. This session is digitally powered by Digital 2.0 Jyoti Vidyapeeth University. Thank you.